A nation on edge, the threat of far-right violence. Britain held its breath. A wave of far-right protests loomed, fueled by the tragic deaths of 3 young girls in Southport. The air crackled with tension, fear mixed with anger, threatening to ignite. The promise of violence hung heavy, social media buzzed with hateful rhetoric. False narratives blamed asylum seekers for the tragedy. The far right sought to exploit the grief and fear, their goal to sow division, their weapon disinformation. Communities braced themselves. Police forces went on high alert. The nation prepared for the worst. Would this be another stain on Britain's conscience? Would hate triumph? The answer lay in the hands of its citizens. The situation was a tinderbox, ready to explode. But from the ashes of fear, something powerful emerged: hope. Across Britain, a different kind of movement took shape. A wave of compassion, not hate. Thousands took to the streets. Their message, not in our name. From London to Liverpool, a sea of faces stood united. They carried signs declaring refugees welcome and no to racism. They chanted for peace and tolerance. They outnumbered the far right, their voices drowning out the hate. The counter-protests were a powerful display of unity. They showed the true spirit of Britain, a spirit of compassion, diversity, and resilience. The far right had hoped to divide. Instead, they had inadvertently united. The sight of ordinary citizens standing up for what's right was a beacon of hope. It showed that love is stronger than hate, that unity can overcome division, that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can prevail.
We stood together, shoulder to show that hate has no place here. It was a beautiful moment, seeing so many people from different backgrounds united for a common cause.
The far right's weapon of choice? Misinformation. They spread lies and distortions online. Social media became their battleground. Their aim? To manipulate emotions and incite violence. Platforms like X, formerly Twitter, and TikTok became breeding grounds for hate speech. False narratives about the Southport tragedy went viral. Algorithms amplified the most extreme content. It was a perfect storm of digital manipulation. The spread of misinformation had real-world consequences. It fueled suspicion and prejudice. It created an environment where violence felt justified. It showed the dark side of the digital age. The government and tech companies faced a critical question: how to combat the spread of hate online. The answer was complex, requiring a multi-pronged approach.
It's scary how quickly lies can spread online. It makes you question everything you read. We need better ways to fight this, to protect our communities from being torn apart by hate.
Section 4. Swift Justice. The government's crackdown on extremist activities. The government responded with swift and decisive action. They announced a crackdown on far-right extremism. New laws were proposed. Existing ones were strengthened. The message was clear: hate would not be tolerated.
Police presence was increased in potential flashpoints. Known agitators were monitored. The authorities were determined to prevent a repeat of the violence that had plagued other countries.
Arrests were made. Individuals suspected of inciting violence were detained. The courts handed down tough sentences. The message was clear: there would be consequences for spreading hate.
The government's response sent a clear message: the rule of law would be upheld. Freedom of speech did not equate to freedom to incite violence. Britain would not be a safe haven for hate. Section 5. Scars remain. The long road to healing societal divides. While the immediate threat of violence subsided, the underlying issues remained. Social and economic inequalities continued to fuel resentment. Marginalized communities still felt unheard. The seeds of division sown by the far right lingered. The fight against extremism was far from over.
It required a long-term commitment to healing societal divides. It demanded addressing the root causes of inequality and injustice. Education and dialogue were crucial, building bridges of understanding between communities, promoting critical thinking skills to combat misinformation, investing in social programs to tackle poverty and inequality.
The event served as a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the importance of vigilance. The fight against hate is a marathon, not a sprint. It requires constant effort, unwavering commitment, and collective action. Only then can we build a truly inclusive and equitable society.